Hey everybody, Grandmaster Ben Finegold here with the video of the day. I saw some of your suggestions on my channel, so you guys are in rare form. I see a lot of suggestions. Today was a good day because the more evil player lost in the Carlson Nakamura match, so that was good. I predicted 21-11 because Danny Reinsch with Chess.com asked many grandmasters to predict scores and such for each session. And I thought he'd win 21-11, Magnus, and he won 18-9. So it seems reasonable to assume if there had been more games, 21-11 would have been a likely score or close to it. Yeah, so that was good. Let's see, I taught camp the last couple of days. Actually, my New Year's resolutions, I couldn't walk yesterday because, well, first I forgot, but we had chess camp at 8 a.m., so I got there like 10 to 8, and then I never left. So I had a lecture. So from 10 to 8 till 9:30 p.m. I was at the club, and then we saw a movie at 9:45, and I got home 12:30 at night, and walked the dog and went to sleep. So I did get my 30 minutes today during the tournament. We have a month-long tournament, and I went 30-minute walk during the round, so no director was available. No, Karen was there. I was in cell phone reach. I was walking in the parking lot. So anyway, so it's been a very busy couple of days. I'm very glad we've changed our hours at the chess center. We're closed Mondays and Thursdays. So I can, in theory, not work tomorrow. However, I have a 2-hour lesson on the internet at 8 a.m., and then I probably have another lesson later in the day. So there's no rest for the wicked, or in this case, super wicked. We got some donations, not many, but some, more than usual. So please go to the channel and donate. Go to our other channel, the Chess Club and Scholastic Center of Atlanta. We have about 11,000 followers on this channel, and I think we have about 5,000 on our Chess Club channel, so hoping we'll catch up. And again, I'll post a video a day, still vegan, which is a little bit funny, actually, some of the things I've done. But anyway, this will be a short video, not Nigel short, although it is a King's Gambit. So this is a funny story. I've told a lot, but I've never shown the game. I've shown like the beginning of the game, I think, but never the whole game. And the whole game wasn't very long. In fact, I didn't even realize what tournament this was, so I have more crazy stories for you. Let's see, where am I going to start? Okay, every Thanksgiving, and maybe there was a year or two they didn't do it, but I'll explain why. There's a lot of big tournaments in the U.S. In fact, we have one here in Atlanta that we run. Anyway, in Detroit, for at least 50 years, maybe more, 60 years, there's a tournament called the Motor City Open. They usually get about 100 players, sometimes more. And the tournament was organized and directed and commenced with Dr. Howard Gaba, who was a Class A player and a director and an organizer in Michigan. And he was a doctor, so he was pretty well off. And he used to have strong players come to his home. This is before I was born, experts and masters, and play like a blitz tournament. Anyway, it turned out that I was delivered by Dr. Gaba, even though he wasn't an OBGYN. So that's another long story. When I was born, he was the delivery doctor. And I think I only played him once, and I beat him. I think I might have shown that game on a video like 5 or 6 years ago. Okay, and he died a few years ago. And when he died, I think they didn't have the tournament once or twice. Other people have taken it over. And I never realized this game, which I've talked about before, was at the Motor City Open in the last round. I thought it was some other tournament. Okay, now in this tournament, I had 5 out of 5, good score, and there was nobody else with 5. And the only player with 4.5 out of 5 was a Class A player, which is shocking because prizes are pretty good, and probably he was rated like 20th in the tournament out of, like 100 people. So that's not somebody I played in the last round when I'm 5-0, but okay, that's what happened. Now, the funny part of the story is that I was completely winning on move 4, unless it was move 3. Let's see, 1, 2, no, move 4. And, yeah, so that's what happens when you blunder. You make mistakes. Okay, So let's start. He played the move f4, bird's opening, which is, of course, very unusual, and especially in the last round on board 1. I play Franz Gambit, and I actually play a weird variation of the Franz Gambit. I don't play the normal variation, so that way usually my opponent is taken out of theory on move 3. I don't want to discuss what I do, but I've shown videos of what I've done, so you can figure it out. But needless to say, after taking on e5, the main move, I don't play d6. Okay, he played e4, transposing to a king's gambit. Now, the reason I play openings has nothing to do with, I guess, what you would consider normal. I see a game, or I play a game, and I decide I'm going to play that way forever. Not a lot of thought put into it. So many years ago, I'm going to say 33 years ago, and you can look it up. I didn't look it up, but there was a game between Hebden, British Grandmaster, who I think was an IM at the time, against Dr. John Nunn, one of my favorite Grandmasters. He's retired now, but he was one of the top 15 players in the world in the 80s and early 90s, I guess. Anyway, in that game, Nunn played d5, the Falkbeer counter gambit, and after takes, the Falkbeer counter gambit is e4, because that's the Falkbeer counter gambit. And there's a lot of Morphy games, and there's other games. One of Morphy's most famous games, he had black and a Falkbeer counter gambit. I probably made a video about it. Anyway, I noticed that Dr. John Nunn played a move I'd never seen before, and he won the game. And I looked at the game, and I'm like, all right, I've never seen that move, so that's an unusual move. My opponent might not know it. I know this Nunn game. And I've done almost no study at all since that game, 33 years ago. So I don't really know it very well. Anyway, the move is c6. And I think I had one game. In fact, it was against the King's Gambit aficionado, Joseph Gallagher, who was or is British and I think plays for Switzerland now. And he beat me because he knew the opening better than I did and played better than me, was higher rated than me and taller than me and so forth, and more jokes. Okay, but most people when I play c6 are just sit there dumbfounded. Now, the engine and the book don't agree on what white should do. The book move and the move that Hebden played is knight c3. And I think computers like something like queen e2 or d3, although knight c3 is okay. Anyway, well, this is an A player, so it's unlikely, since he's not playing e4 on move 1, and he's not probably ever faced c6, he's not going to be the world's leading authority. Okay. Anyway, well, here he made the losing move, which I guess is shocking to some of you, but, I mean, you could lose on move 2 if you want to, and some of you want to. Okay, so it's funny when I teach chess camp or I'm giving a class, whenever I say, like, here, you know, somebody played a losing move, everybody in the class suggests, like, the worst move they can find. Okay, like, I mean, class A players are not going to play bishop a6. I mean, it's just silly. You have to find a reasonable looking move that loses, not a ridiculous move. Okay, so see if you can do that at home. Look at some moves for white that look reasonable, but then you're like, oh no, that loses, so you shouldn't do that. And that's what my opponent did. So pause the video and try to find such a move. I guess I'll have some sparkling water. There we go. See, I drink that better than, who was that guy who didn't know how to drink water? Anyway, so he played f takes e5. And in the King's Gambit, you don't play f takes e5, and we can go back. So if it was white's move in this position, and it's not, white would play knight f3. And if black plays like a silly move like a6, I don't know. Okay, knight a6, because the computer did it. And taking just loses to queen h4 check. I mean, this is well known, you don't play f takes e5. And therefore, one of the most common moves is bishop c5. And then if you take on e5, queen h4 just wins. Okay, so it's pretty well known that you don't take on e5, but my opponent got confused because he'd never seen the move c6. And I guess he was just thinking about what c6 did and forgot about, you know, general principles of the King's Gambit, if such a sentence has ever been said. So after f takes e5, he's losing. and I play queen h4 check. And the big difference between queen h4 check now and earlier is earlier white's pawn was on f4, and now white's pawn is not on f4. Therefore, after the move g3, I can play queen e4 check. Obviously, if the white pawn's on f4, I can't play queen e4 check. Unfortunately, king e2 is even worse. And I go check, and check, and d4 is the best move, but it completely loses here. And now, I think the best move is queen g6, but I like to show this other line because I just like it more. Sorry. Queen e5 check, and if king f3, obviously queen h5 check is winning the queen with a skewer. And that's the reason queen g6 check is better, because then after king f3, we have checkmate. So checkmate's better than winning the queen, I guess. Anyway, the reason I like queen e5 is because after a move that doesn't lose the queen, king h4, which is silly, but it doesn't lose the queen, black has mate in 1, and I've shown this thousands of times, and for most people it's very difficult. And the reason is psychological. Obviously for a computer, mate in 1 is a trillionth of a second. But for a human, when you checkmate or you attack a king, normally you attack. And a lot of times in chess, the correct move is not to go forward, but always retreat. And a lot of people think bishop f2 is mate, like some of you at home, but g3. And a lot of my students think g5 is mate, missing king h5. Now all these moves win, but mate in 1 is only accomplished by bishop e7, which is a funny mate, as you're retreating. Okay, anyway, king e2 is not good. In fact, king e2 is worse than g3, according to the engine. So he played g3, and I win the rook. Now, obviously, you don't run or resign early. Now, some of you know, in either 1983 or 1984, I forget, there was a game between Kamran Shirazi and Jack Peters in the U.S. Championship. This was the U.S. Championship in which Shirazi scored half a point out of a lot of games, like 16, 17 games. And he lost to Peters in 5 moves. It was a wing gambit, and he hung his rook on a1 to queen e5 check. So this is similar, hanging the rook. And Shirazi actually resigned, which was a bit strange because you don't want to lose in 5 moves with white or with black. And, the queen's almost trapped in the corner, so you really shouldn't resign. And then you can play on to move 15 or 20, and people may not notice. When you resign on move 5, people notice. And remember 35 years later. Okay, so he played queen e2, and I don't blame him for not resigning because my queen might get trapped. He played e6, which is complicated. Obviously, if he plays bishop g2, his knight's hanging, so he can't really attack my queen. And knight f3 fails miserably to bishop g4, and your bishop on f1's pinned, your knight on f3 is pinned, and you're down a rook. So those are the 2 logical moves you'd want to play to trap the queen, but you can't play either one of them. Okay, so e6, rawr, e6. Okay, queen takes d5, so that's queen didn't get trapped. And my king had to move, oh no. And actually, when I teach chess games, and the kids are rated, negative a million. Man, they don't like moving their king. When they're told to castle, they castle. I mean, they don't really castle, but when they don't castle, then they're like, oh no. So, well, I mean, there's no attack on black's king, and black's up a rook. So, not really important that the king moved. Okay, so my opponent played knight f3, and I played bishop e7. This does a couple things. It defends the g5 square, so there's no knight g5 check. And I guess more important, it gives my king some shelter on the back rank. It vacates the f8 square, and I have e8 now. Knight e5 check, and I go back to e8. Now I can castle later. Yeah, I'm a grandmaster. Oh, wait, I wasn't a grandmaster during this game. Darn, so I can't castle later. Okay, and he played knight c3, so I moved my queen. And yeah, he doesn't have any compensation for a rook. It's not good. I guess I could have taken the pawn on e5. This doesn't matter. Yeah, that's pretty safe. Okay, so now he's going crazy. He wants to play knight c7 check. But okay, a knight's a knight. That reminds me of a funny story, which I think I told in a previous video. In fact, I think I told this story recently. Now, I might have told it in a class at the Chess Center, so you haven't heard it. But if I told it on one of these videos, you heard it like 2 days ago. But what do I know? I don't remember. There was a master in Michigan named Paul Pochel, and he played in the 1949 U.S. Championship. And he was rated between 23 and 2400 for like 50 years. He died last year, or possibly it was 2016, but he died about a year ago at the age of maybe 86-ish. And he was a very safe player. In the 1963 Western Open, where my dad played Fischer, Pochel played Fischer and drew him there. And Pochel was a very strong player, probably one of the top 5 players in Michigan for 40 years. Anyway, he was a very safe player. And I remember once his opponent sacrificed a rook, and I thought, like, Pochel could take it and there's not enough compensation. But I knew Pochel was a very safe player. So I went up to my dad, and we were probably about the same strength at the time, maybe both about 2,200. And I said, you think Pochel's going to take that rook? Because, the guy gets some play, and Pochel's a safe player. And my dad said, Pochel's a safe player, but that's a rook. So it was like really funny. And Pochel took that rook. So, yeah, and then he won. It's up a rook. So, yeah, no matter how safe you are, my dad was right. A rook is a rook. So, I mean, okay, he gets to check me, but a knight is a knight. So, and he checked me. Oh, no. Okay, and I blocked the check. I assume almost every legal move wins there. Even queen d7 wins. Maybe. I doubt it. But king's a queen, but I still have more material. Anyway, after queen c6, he had enough. Although, I don't know, I probably make a couple more moves. But he made it to move 20. So here I'm up a rook and a knight, so that's enough. And he resigned. So that was a relatively easy win in the last round of a big money tournament. I think this game was played in 2000. That sounds right. So, but yeah, I remember having winning position on move 4. That was pretty cool. So anyway, I hope you liked that game. I know I did. And the video lasted much longer than I expected because I told a lot of crazy stories. Again, join our chess club, donate money, mail us your wallet, we'll mail it back. And we have some new stuff coming up at the Chess Center. We had our month-long tournament today. It only seemed like a month. And we had our biggest turnout ever. We had 24 players. So they'll be coming every Wednesday for the month. And we're closed tomorrow, every Thursday. Friday, we have a Blitz tournament every Friday. And actually, a couple weeks ago, we had 36 players, and we had, I think, 5 players over 2,200. So that was pretty nice. This Saturday, we're having a Game 30. So if you're in the Atlanta area, you should come down to the club and play in tournaments and hang out and join the club and so forth. atlchessclub.com. And I'll see you guys tomorrow with another video. And, well, hopefully the weather warms up a little here so the 30-minute walk isn't so troubling. Okay, bye, guys.